Good morning, traders. Today is Monday, September the 17th, and this is the Futures in 5, taking a look at our day. Really, we've got a backdrop of tariff news, and that had Europe down, it had Asia down, and we are holding a bit steady. So let's talk first a little bit about the ES. Remember, today we do have a lunch and learn at noon, so I'm looking forward to seeing those of you who can make it. That would be great. Let's take a look at what we've got. This backdrop here tells us that we're likely to see another test of resistance right here before the chart expands. So we'll need to see ourselves above 29.12 before the chart gets hold, unless we want to try and pick a bottom. And then that support structure looks like it's established somewhere between 29.01 and 29.04 today. We could have ourselves a little bit of a messy patch. In general, right? We are in a bit of a support hunt, and if we can't get above 29.11, then we will likely head back down a little bit deeper. It is very messy here. Overall, our formation is still very sideways. We have resistance and support, and then resistance again. So either we hold the midline and move above, and that forms something that looks like what people like to call a cup and handle, or we fall back into the channel space. I have no idea which way it's going to go. I suspect that what we'll do is drift into heavy congestion. There is a great deal of support at around 28.96. Taking a look at the NQ, we've got the same kind of formation. We have a drift down, and that's going to reverse just a bit because this arrow, this type of arrow, tells me that I am going to see a bounce into a resistance zone. And it could be that that resistance zone has already taken its toll on the chart and we don't get above our 75.75, at which point if we get below 75.40, we'll be looking at the move into the last period of noted support, which is around 7,500, but that is fairly messy. So once again, we are in a messy space. A lot of times traders come into the charts and they go, hey, I just want to know where to trade. Well, don't we all? And sometimes things are a little bit messier than we want them to be. And so we have a choice of either refining our skills to adjust in the mess, or we just step away from the trade. And a lot of times the latter is easier. Taking a look at the YM, we've got the same sort of noise. This is the type of arrow that says, hey, listen, whenever we find support, we should bounce into the space. That's going to give me a failure, maybe at around 26,196. That's going to give me that kind of motion, and then I'll see a move down into 26,116, 26,118. If we do lose that level, our last line in the sand is somewhere around the 26,000 marker. We've got the same sort of rounded bottom that the chart has got looking for, and so heavy congestion here. Why not fade after this bounce of pre-market downside? There's nothing that says it can't, and there's also nothing that says it can't move forward. I just think primarily, particularly with the tariff stuff on the horizon, that folks really are thinking about this negatively. They could get themselves caught in the space, though, so you've got to be pretty careful here. I'd say watch your size. Taking a look at oil is the same sort of thing. It's a very noisy patch. Right? This formation here, this particular arrow, is giving us, well, let's double check on that. Yeah, this arrow is giving us some space that says we're likely not to retest this low that's here and that we should hold this edge. Remains to be seen. What we want to see, ideally, would be upward motion in the underside of momentum, which is still present, and a pullback that doesn't come into this level but maybe comes close, like 68.80, which we know, very familiar, move up into the space, and then we can stair step above into the last motions. All right. Now, lastly, we take a look at gold. Gold is really trying to recover, and so we should see the chart attempt motion upward into the 1205 to maybe even 1208 area. This is a very big dip, and so it should have a little bit of a snapback function, at least to the halfway point, which is where I have this 1205 sitting. That's really what we want to see. If it comes into 1205, the first folks there are going to be sellers. No doubt about it. how well those sellers perform in the space really tell us if the buyers are going to come back and hold the 1204 to 1201 area. Still very, very congested. We are moving from resistance to support to resistance to support to resistance to support. So this area down here could be support. This area down here could be support. It's very, very sideways. And when our charts are sideways, we do not need to use trending mechanics to trade them, which is what many of our momentum indicators are. What we have to do is set parameters beyond that that allow us to participate from support to resistance and then back to support. That's it. Take care. See you tomorrow.